This little city here in the foothills of the Himalayas is one of the most unique cities we've been to in India so far.
This is Dharamshala,
also known as Little Tibet. Dharamshala is a pretty small city here in the Indian state of Himachal Pradesh. The city is located right up against the foothills of the Himalayas, which you can see behind me. These massive mountains here are just the very foothills of the biggest mountain range in the world. We'll be exploring them a little bit more in the weeks to come, but this is our first taste of what it's like to be here in the Himalayas. Now, technically, we are here in McLeod-Ganj, which is a smaller part of Dharamshala. And it's not really the most important city in Indian history, but it's very important for another group of people. See, this is the home of the 14th Dalai Lama, and it's often known as Little Tibet because of all of the people who moved here with the Dalai Lama to live here. While walking around the city streets here, it's really wild to see Tibetan monks or Tibetan food, Tibetan art, and all of that mixed into this Indian city here. After spending a few months traveling through the rest of India, it's really refreshing to see something totally different and unique. Right now, we are just under the Dalai Lama's temple complex, which is one of the main attractions here in Dharamshala. This is where you can visit the Dalai Lama. He spends most of his time here throughout the year, and you can go and get a blessing or listen to his teachings live while you're here. Now, they're pretty strict about video recording equipment and electronics being brought into the temple while he's present, so we got to walk around the temple at a different time, but we can't really show you what it was like to be part of the ceremony where the Dalai Lama himself was present. But it was pretty interesting. They served food and tea to the crowd, and you got to witness some pretty beautiful singing and music and dancing, and a lot of the different Tibetan people who live here came to the ceremony wearing their traditional clothes, which was really fun to watch. Also, the Dalai Lama's teachings were in Tibetan, and if you want to hear them live, you can tune in with a radio, which we don't have. So we later watched the live stream on the website, which you can check out with a link down below. As for why the Dalai Lama made his home here in India, well, the history is pretty complicated, and I'm definitely not an expert on it. To give you the basics, in the 1950s, China was beginning to move into Tibet. And at the time, they made some deals, some agreements and treaties, but none of them really panned out. So the Dalai Lama, the 14th Dalai Lama, contacted the then new Prime Minister Nehru and made a deal to come live here in India instead. Nehru was very hospitable towards him and allowed him to stay here in Dharamshala and provided things like housing and food for him and his people. Of course, that's just a really basic overview. We don't know that much about the situation ourselves, but we did learn a lot by visiting the Tibet Museum here in Dharamshala. So I recommend doing a little bit more research on your own, maybe going to the Tibet Museum's website and checking out what they have to say. It's a lot of pretty eye-opening stuff and a lot of really cool little facts about the culture here. Overall, it was really cool and interesting to check out these temples and learn more about the culture, but that really wasn't the most exciting thing for us in reality.
The temple was beautiful, but the thing we enjoyed the most was definitely the food. We tried so many momos in different restaurants. We tried steamed, more like fluffy ones, or deep fried ones. Was like amazing. And the Tibetan noodles have like different kind of, it's difficult to pronounce, but it is really delicious, and we really recommend you to come here to try the food. Today we come here at the local restaurants to eat Tibetan food. I'm so excited. It's a soup noodle called tukpa.
It seems kind of like ramen, but a little bit different. We'll see the flavor. And with mutton this time.
Oh, it smells good. Really light soup. but flavoring.
It smells good. Let me get a little piece of mutton. Yeah, you're right. It's like not too heavy, but definitely flavorful. It's good.
Yeah. The mutton is like really soft and let's say derrete na boca.
Perfect.
So we finished our delicious lunch and wanted to go back to our hotel, but it started to rain a lot, so we refuge in one cafe we find and try to order a butter tea. I think butter tea is a local Tibetan drink.
So last night we actually watched the movie 7 Years in Tibet to kind of learn a little bit more about the story. And in the movie, they drink some butter tea at the end. And Brad Pitt's character kind of says he doesn't really like it, or it takes some getting used to. So I kind of expected it to be a little bit different, but it really is like just drinking butter.
Smells like milk, but tastes like, yeah, you're drinking butter. A little salty, like, but yeah, if you love butter, you love this butter tea. Maybe need some cake, something to go together.
A little sweet would do well.
Yeah, because it's like salty butter drink.
So we just stopped on the road in the cafe and found this place serving momos. These look awesome. I'm so excited to try.
Smells delicious.
And typical Tibetan bread, which is tingmo, steamed bun. Let's try.
The best one so far.
The tingmo also is like very doughy. Well, very good. Today we're here trying a more traditional Tibetan breakfast. We learned about this in the museum that we visited. This is called tsampa. It's basically roasted barley flour and then mixed with butter, tea, cheese, maybe sugar and little other ingredients until it becomes kind of like a dough. We've never had it before, and it's supposed to be a bit unusual, so we're gonna try it and see how it is. Smells good. Smells like flour. So we put some flour in the bowl here. Gonna add a little sugar, a little more sugar, a little cheese. This is like hard cheese, not like Parmesan, but like a cracker.
It's like hard concentrated cheese.
Yeah. And there's some butter here, but there's also butter tea, which we've tried before. So we're just gonna add a little bit. Thought that might happen. Wow, yeah.
A little more.
Need more.
There is one very great spiritual leader in Vrindavan. We are seeing those singing because you know Virat Kohli. Maybe something wrong going on.
And the cheese seems to like melt a little. All right, let's try. Just gonna go for it. Yeah, like bread dough, barley dough. Not bad.
Nice.
She said, I don't go out. You have to take me out.
Little crunchy cheese bits is good too. This can be eaten kind of like a dough or more like a porridge if you add more butter tea. And this way it's pretty good. Tastes like oatmeal. Of course, the Tibetan food and culture is the main draw to Dharamshala, but it's not the only thing to do here. There's also some very, very popular hiking trails nearby. Some of them go pretty far up into the mountains, but we only did one quick little hike to a waterfall. From McLeod Ganj, you can walk up to the next town over, and from there start a very, very short hike down to Bagsu Falls. Now, it's summertime here in the Himalayas, so there were quite a bit of people out and even people swimming in the water, which I was impressed by. We weren't really dressed for it, so we didn't go in, but I did dip my toes in the water. It was pretty cold, so I don't know if I could really go swimming there, but it was really nice to cool off and check out the local scenery. And I can imagine how nice it would be to go on a long hike further up into the hills if we had the time, energy, gear, and willpower, I guess. Overall, this has been a pretty great stop for us. We ended up spending about a week here and mostly just relaxed and ate delicious food and explored a little bit. But it's definitely worth coming to if you're already checking out northern India.
If you're more interested in Buddhism and yoga, here they have some retreats and a lot of teachings. You can come and do for a weekend or for a long term.
We've met quite a few people who are here learning about Tibetan Buddhism and just Buddhism in general. So it's a good place to come for that. That said, it is now time for us to head off to our next stop. We're going a little bit deeper into the Himalayas, not too far, but still about a 10-hour drive from here. So it's gonna be a while, but we'll save that for next time. In the meantime, thank you very much for watching, and
see you at our next destination.
ciao.